Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kangshachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnang Bande Jagadgurum. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are very happy today to have Swami Baneshananda ji with us. The Swami is the minister in charge of our Berlin Center, Germany. It is very it's a very enjoyable news to tell you that he is in Germany. He is the Swami who has brought the Vedantic teaching and have some center created by a strong struggle and just making a center there. 2-3 places he has to move, and how he went there is a history. But it is very a great place now, the Berlin Center, where it is a Om sign is there. The common people talk about that house as Om house. Vedanta is just entered there in this way. Now it is very lively center, and he came to Bienweiden in 2004. From 2004 to 2025, this 21 years of long struggle, the Vedantic movement has taken now very solid ground there. And he first started there in Bienweiden, and then extended to Frankfurt. One branch was started there in 2009. And then afterwards, he extended that to the present place in Berlin. He joined as a monk in Calcutta, Kakurgachi it's called, 1976, and studied in a scholarly manner with revered Swami Bhuteshananda Maharaj, our president, for 5 years. He went to the training center in 1981 to 83, our seminary, and then posted to Shillong, that were about 83 to 92, 9 years, and sannyasa in 1986. And he was in our Belur Math headquarters in the law department. It's a very tough work. For 1992 to 2008 years he was there. During this period, he also studied with Swami Bhuteshananda Maharaj the scriptures, Brahma Sutra and other things, no? Brahma Sutra. So, and also he became then the editor of the Vedanta Kesari, our English journal, published from Chennai from 2000 to 2004. And he also translated a very scholarly translation of the famous Vedantic text, Panchadasi, and it was published by our Bengali publication unit in 1999. And there are few brahmacharis are joining there to promote this Vedantic, to live this Vedantic life with Swamiji. And actually this present place, yes, it's a beautiful temple, and with Ramakrishna's what is called murti or statue, and the retreat center is very much liked by people all over. They come there every weekend. Many people come, and they continuously, and class and lecture goes on. So Swami is very popular there, and he is the person holding the Vedantic flag for a long time, and a pioneering work what he has done. It will be really remembered for a long time. I don't want to take more time. Swamiji will be speaking on Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Welcome, Swami. Swami Baneshananda. I will go down to see you.
Om Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadaatatam Bhuvi Grinanti Ye Bhurida Janaha. Revered Srimad Swami Sarvadevanandaji Maharaj, other dear monastic members, Matajis and dear friends. Yes, I was asked to speak on the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. I did not select any text as such. So just I wanted to highlight a few points from the Gospel itself. So, as you know, the Sanatana Dharma or the Vedic tradition, which culminated in the Vedantic teachings, it has got three pillars on which the whole system stands. So they are called prasthanas or pillars. And the first pillar is known as the scriptures, and that is the first class scriptures, that is known as the Vedic texts. You know, generally these scholars, they date the Rig Veda to about 3000 BC. That is how we got the text in the written form. But how long it continued to be there in the spoken form, we don't know. Actually speaking, that must have taken much longer time. And the text that we get, the quality of the language, quality of the philosophy, psychology, other things behind those, that development is amazing. And in today's context, if you look at those writings, you will be finding some striking similarities between the human excellences, human creation, what is very up to date now. So these truths which have been discovered by these great saints and sages of yore in that tradition, they are very contemporary. They have not become old. So in that tradition, the first class literature that is known as the Shruti, or the collection of the experiences of successful people in that field. And that created a kind of philosophy about our life, which is known as darshana. Actually speaking, the word philosophy is a wrong translation of the word darshana. Darshana is a direct experience, or as you can see something with your own eyes and you do not deny that fact to be true. It is exactly like that. These books have collected those experiences and they are written there, experiences of successful people in that field. So to give an example, the difference between the word darshana and philosophy. Philosophy can be speculative, but there nothing is a speculation, all are experiences. Suppose someone has climbed up to the 4th or 5th floor of a house, and from there that person is narrating his or her experiences about how this person climbed up to that 4th or 5th floor and what it is like to be there, and what is the beautiful scenery all around he has been experiencing. These are not speculations. These are this person's direct experiences. But suppose we are standing on the ground and listening to that person, then we accept that to be true, but we are imagining all the facts that this person has been narrating. So that portion is called philosophy. So, and there would be a lot of interpretation, scope for interpretation. But for that person, it was always true that no extra interpretation is necessary. So darshana is the direct experience. And that holds the maximum authenticity in respect of understanding the philosophy of life as discovered and propagated by this tradition. Sometimes we mix up with the words like Vedic tradition, Vedantic tradition, Hindu tradition, but these are all together one tradition. Different parts you give different names selectively, but actually speaking it is a tradition which started its journey from a very crude type of experimentations and reached to the most sophisticated height of Vedanta. Like if you compare the surgeons, the surgery started with maybe barbers, and they started cutting and all these things without any help of anesthesia. But we do not call them butchers or murderers. But that was that has got primary importance, because through that the whole system has started. So we can't just, that is why Swami Vivekananda has said that do not ridicule them. They were necessary at that point of time and they are of primary importance. And we can see, look at the surgery now at its sophisticated form. So it is exactly like that, it is one system. We get a very fascinating study of how the whole thing has been experimented on and evolved and developed to this highest position of non-dual Vedanta. Sri Ramakrishna's, and this is, of course, this is not a closed system. That with the discovery of one person, this whole system has been closed there. Nothing more can be discovered in this respect, or no one else can have this as his or her own personal experience. No, that is the birthright of everyone. The same experience as it is done by the great saints in the Vedas and Vedantas can be had by people afterwards. So, and also those who will be having those experiences, even today down to our time, like the time of Ramana Maharshi, the books written by him are called the first-class scriptures, because it continues, the tradition continues, it is never a closed system. Similarly, Sri Ramakrishna's Gospel is a part of that first-class scriptures. And of course, as I said, that they have got logic as the second pillar, where whatever has been said in the scriptures or the Vedas, Vedanta, that has to be tested with the rigorous logical argumentation of formal logic. You know, the logic developed in India is very difficult because it has got a 5-member syllogism, whereas normal logic has 3-member syllogism. We try to remove as much as possible the fallacies that may occur in the course of our debates and discussions. So, this logic actually, here in this system it is not said that logic is the ultimate. No, it has its limit, of course. And sometimes a logical understanding can lead us to erroneous understanding. That can happen also. Logic may say that whatever, and to see, seeing is believing. If that is the logic, then whatever we say, that should be true. So we see that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So we used to believe and we would be seeing that the sun is moving. Whereas our experience and our understanding and learning is that the sun does not move. But what do we see? That it is moving from east to west. Then we will now attribute that movement into the sun. And that we see. And do we believe that? Seeing is not believing in that sense. So like that, logic has its own limit, but it will help us to remove the doubts as much as possible. So, all these things we will see in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. That is the speciality of this unique scripture. I would use this word unique in respect of Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna only. Of course, Sri Ramakrishna himself would not like this word only. But, but when you try to look at different other scriptures available, then you will see that it is special in that sense. So look at the gospel itself, how it is created. Actually, you know the story that Swami Shivananda Maharaj, Tarak, he started noting down Sri Ramakrishna's words. He thought that, he was a young man, he thought that these words will be lost. So let me write down these things. And one day Sri Ramakrishna observed and forbade him to do that. And Tarak, as you know, he was very upset and he tore that apart and threw those things into the Ganges. But then why? Because it was meant for somebody else. And that somebody was a chosen one. See the plan behind this. So we have read in the Srimad Darshan, there are a few volumes of that book, and there we have read that initially Mahendranath Gupta, Master Mosai, he did not have this habit of writing diaries. But once he was gripped by this idea that he must start writing diary, afterwards he said that it may be Sri Ramakrishna Thakur himself who gave that inspiration. So he started writing diary. Morning he would write morning things, afternoon things. Then afterwards he got habituated with that, then whole day thing he would be able to remember right. 7 days things he would be able to remember right, like that. He was an expert in writing diaries. So when he came to Sri Ramakrishna, he was a person who was already ready to do this work. But Sri Ramakrishna is not to be taken that easily. Sri Ramakrishna used to ask him, now read it out to me what you have written about my conversations on that day with that person. And when Master Mosai would open and read that you told this person this thing, Sri Ramakrishna said, no, I did not tell that person this thing, I told this person. So it is a different person. So then correct it, and Master Mosai would see that and he would correct it. So it is not that you will level the idea of plagiarism in that respect, that some copied from somewhere and pasted there. It is not that. Sri Ramakrishna himself corrected things, and that is why it is so authentic. And one special thing is that when Master Mosai came, Sri Ramakrishna knew that he would be the person to preserve his words, his teachings. Therefore, he tested him. Now see, Master Mosai was a professor of logic and philosophy. So therefore, he came there and then Sri Ramakrishna asked him, do you believe in God with form or without form? Because the gospel is a gospel for all humanity. dualists, non-dualists, believers, non-believers, for everyone there is something. And an incarnation of God comes for the whole of humanity, because the whole humanity is His creation. Therefore, He has to speak to all. Our problem is that when we read the Gospel, we think that all sorts of ideas are meant for me, and even if they are contradictory. And that creates problem in our own life. So here, Sri Ramakrishna asked him, do you believe in God with form or without form? See, a logician, a professor of logic, he was thinking within his mind, how can it be true at the same time that one will have a faith in God with form and at the same time without form? These are two contradictory ideas. Actually, Master Moshe did not understand that both things are possible simultaneously to be true. So he was arguing within himself and he was saying, can white milk become black? Yes, it can become black if you add black color. That is logic. If you read logic, you will see that a white milk can be black if you add black color to it. But this black color is something which is extraneous. It is not the nature of milk. Extraneous. That is why God with form. The form is kalpana, that is an imagination of the devotee. Sometimes people argue and ask that how they don't like this idea of personal God. Now the problem is that as long as we are persons, our idea of God should be personal God, personal idea. If someone is giving a talk on God and there are some 300 students or 20 students, each one will understand that in his or her own style. Development of ideas. Whatever I know about that, I will grasp that much. And that will be my personal idea of God. That will be my personal God. I have a pen. That is my personal pen. Because I am a person. Pen does not have any personality. But because I have personality, that I cannot deny. And my personality is there. Everything is there in my CV. In my curriculum vitae. According to Vedanta, all these qualifications that we write, they are all disqualifications. They do not qualify us, actually. They disqualify us. What we are not, that it is being said in our CV. So, how much limited I am? I am a master degree holder in chemistry. That means I don't know anything else. And nowadays, if you have a PhD, you do not know even what that PhD is. What for that PhD is given? You don't understand that. And you would be totally useless for all practical purposes. Most of the cases, sorry, I am not just generalizing, most of the cases. So I will give you, this is something very funny, but there will be a lot of grains of truth, not only a few. One of my friends in Belmont, he asked me, how are you doing? Through WhatsApp conversation, how are you doing? I sent a picture of some 21 knives which are there in one drawer in our kitchen. He did not understand what is the meaning of this. Then he asked for the explanation, why did you send me this picture of knives? I said, in one of his novels, Rabindranath Tagore has written that one lady, after committing suicide, Kadambini proved that she is immortal. After committing suicide, Kadambini proved that she is immortal. So I said, I live with so many PhDs here. Not committing suicide, because I did not use these 21 knives for 20 years. They are 20. If I would have used one, then I would have been good. One would be less there and I would be less there. So by not committing suicide, Baneshananda proved that he is more dead than alive. More dead than alive. So, because if you live in the constantly live in the company of highly educated people, you know that you need people to do some work, not these people. They don't know what to do. So, sometimes it is a big problem. So the Master Messiah, he was not able to understand how can these two things be true at the same time. It can be true if you add some imaginative things, that is your imagination. And whatever, if you think of an infinity, you will make it finite, that's all. So that is what is the idea of personal God. And Rabindranath Tagore says at one place, when you come out of yourself and stand aside, you will be able to hear the footsteps of universality. That means that when we start outgrowing that limitation of PhD or whatever it is, that we will see that our God too will be bigger and bigger. And at one point of time, the God, when we lose our personality, idea of limitation, then limitedness, then we will see that our God too has no personality. That happens in non-dual Vedanta. That is why Sri Krishna is differentiating between these two, Jnani and Jignasu. Artho Jignasur Artharthi Jnani cha Bharatarsava. He is saying there are 4 types of devotees who seek me, who love me. So one is Jignasu, who would be inquiring into the reality of God, and Jnani, who would be inquiring into the very nature of God. So Jnani, when you inquire into the very nature of God, what you will find? It is Sat, Chit, Ananda. Nothing more than, no personality is there. Sat, Chit, Ananda. So Master Messiah could not understand that. That is why Sri Ramakrishna had to remove these type of a kind of narrowness from the mind, limitation from the mind of Master Messiah. And he scolded him. He said, don't think that whatever you understand that is true. So this way, in the beginning itself, he is clearing the mind or cobwebs from the mind of Master Messiah. So this Kathamrita is a wonderful creation in that respect. And even Holy Mother has herself recommended this, and she has lauded this Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. She said, the other day I got it read out to me, and I felt that Thakur himself has been talking. And Swami Vivekananda has praised it so much because of one fact that was haunting me for a long time, that Socratic dialogues are Plato all over. But here you are completely hidden. See the humility, how it is, and this idea of Swami Vivekananda I did not understand for a long time. Once I read 2-part articles in the Memphis Journal of Philosophy. There someone has discussed this idea, that how much of Plato is there in Socratic dialogues. He said most of the things have been Socrates' own ideas. Anyway, so here Master Messiah's contribution is immense in that respect. Now, another thing we find that Master Messiah came to Sri Ramakrishna at a very critical point of his life. He actually wanted to commit suicide, but somehow the fate or destiny led him to Sri Ramakrishna. Now see, it is a wonderful occasion to meditate on. You see, in one of the scriptures, the Arjuna has lost his son in the battle. He is so aggrieved and he comes to Sri Krishna for solace. And Sri Krishna is talking about non-dual Vedanta. It seems to be very ridiculous, a person who is suffering. Now, in German, there are 2 words about the sympathy or showing your, they say that shared sorrow is half sorrow. So if you share that sorrow of others, then you reduce the sorrow of that person. So here, in German, there are two words. One is called Mitleid and Mitgefühl. Mitgefühl means you feel for others, you have sympathy for others' suffering. And that is why Yoga Sutra says that if you can be happy with others' happiness and with your enemy's happiness, then that is real achievement. So here, Mitgefühl means compassion. And Mitleid means somebody is crying and you sit down there and start crying with that person. It is very fine. But one person crying was one problem. Now two crying together, two problem increased. So that is not very much interesting. In one or two cases it is fine, but not always. So Master Masai, the Arjuna was simply stunned that Sri Krishna is talking about non-dual Vedanta. Atman does not have death, does not have birth. Actually speaking, that is the only thing you can tell someone. We feel that suffering in our heart when we lose someone who is very near and dear to us. Sri Ramakrishna gives one example, that someone comes and tells someone who was sweeping that this and this person died. Then this person continues to sweep and says, oh, acha, what happened? And finally, nothing. That just listens to that information, news. But if someone comes and says that somebody dies and that person is known to you, close to you, your relative, then you immediately drop that broom and start weeping like that. So there itself we make so much difference. Now, why we cry? Why do we suffer? That is a question. We suffer because we have taken it for granted that that person is lost forever. This is a big problem. And that is how we have been taught throughout the world. When your body dies and you are lost forever. And that creates this suffering, that we will not be seeing that person, we will not be seeing that body which has grown old or changed all so many times throughout their life. For that you are crying. But you are not thinking that this person is not lost. So that is the idea behind this advice of Sri Krishna. He is saying that no, this person has not died, completely lost. That is why suffering has a different connotation here. Buddha said that the world is full of suffering, suffering everywhere, suffering. And not only Buddha, none of the great saints, sages, incarnations could have any cure for that. They cannot remove suffering from the world. The world will be there, suffering will be there. That is how it is the world. But Buddha said that, but I can teach you how to remain steady in the face of so much suffering. I cannot remove suffering, but I can teach you something. Way out of suffering means suffering is there, you feel that you can stand against these challenges. Vedanta teaches another idea that you are aware of yourself and you are aware of this suffering, the nature of this suffering. Whoever is suffering, whatever be the suffering, that is a temporary phase, temporary phenomena. Therefore, you don't suffer that much. People who practice spiritual life, they do suffer, but they do not suffer with the suffering. They do suffer, but they do not suffer with that. They do not break down under the pressure of suffering. They do not lose themselves. So that is the speciality here. So Master Moshe has come, and he has come to a person that is the incarnation of God. He is there, available for him. Now if you look back, this world does not have any cure for that. He wanted to commit suicide because he was not happy with the world. The society does not have any solution for that. So therefore, what is the way out of this? Commit suicide and get freedom from suffering. But Master Mosai came to Sri Ramakrishna, and then he is asking a question. What is the first question? How, sir, can one fix the mind on God? That is the first question. See, the master, he was a professor of logic. And if you ask me to put some questions to a person like Sri Ramakrishna or a senior Swami, I did ask some questions to senior Swamis. Then first question, is there a God? What is the proof that there is a God? These are questions you would ask. But Master Mosai is not asking that question. And sometimes many of our friends would ask how to live in this world. How to live in this world. And Master Mosai knows this world did not give any solution to his problem. So that cannot be the question. He is not happy with the world, so how to live in this world? What for? He is not interested in this world. He has come to Sri Ramakrishna. Logic fails there because the heart speaks out. The inner being speaks out. What I need a different solution than this world. Than this world can provide. So he asked Sri Ramakrishna, how can one fix the mind on God? Not how to live in this world. That was a question afterwards. But the first question was how to fix the mind on God. And then Sri Ramakrishna starts telling all those instances how to live in, how to fix the mind on God. Now, one speciality of this gospel is that Sri Ramakrishna did not use extraterrestrial examples. Examples which go miles above our head. We don't understand what is there, what is that. And in most of the cases, the more dramatic the teaching would be, the more authentic we think. More unintelligible, then more authentic we think. Someone went to listen to Swami Vivekananda and came back and said, whatever he said, I understood everything. So what is special about him? So it is exactly like that. Sri Ramakrishna is giving just ordinary examples. You see, in general, we have an idea of spiritual life that you will start floating in air. And as soon as you sit in meditation, you will get samadhi. Samadhi, how to attain samadhi. Someone came and asked Sri Ramakrishna how to attain samadhi. He has not practiced anything, but samadhi is the first question. Well, I will give you an example of one of our brahmacharis. He is very young, very talented and wonderful person. He came and joined the order. After some days, he started reading the Samadhi Pada of the Yoga Sutras. So he knew this word Samadhi, and now he wants to talk about Samadhi. So he went to a senior Swamiji and said, Swamiji, I have some questions. What question? About Samadhi. Then the Swamiji said, wait. So, well, if you want to ask questions about Samadhi, then I have to put some conditions. So how long do you meditate? Morning and evening? 25 minutes? Wonderful. Such a long time you meditate. 25 minutes, 2 times a day? Yeah, fine, 2 times a day. Now, I will answer all your questions about Samadhi because the Raja Yoga Sutra starts with Samadhi Pada. So, if you open that book, the Samadhi will happen there. So, then he said, okay, for 1 month or 3 weeks something, you practice the way I tell you. So, meditation is fine, mantra is fine, you continue doing that. But instead of 25 minutes, you increase the time to 1 hour. Morning 1 hour, afternoon 1 hour. After 3 weeks, we will talk about Samadhi. He said, fine. He was very talented and intelligent. I went back. After several days, he came back. Not many days, after 3-4 days maybe. He came back and said, Maharaj, I have some questions. He said, no, I won't listen to you. No, I have some serious question. No, we said that our contract was after 3 weeks only we will start. So no, I am not asking about samadhi. Then what? No, when I sit in meditation for a long time, my thighs become numb. And there would be some burning sensation on my shoulders. Said, you are not talking about samadhi? No, Maharaj, these are problems, immediate problems. And then what happens? No, what can I do? The Maharaj said, you can change your posture. Even you can stand up and walk a few steps and come back and sit again. Can I do that? Yes, you can do that. And what more? No, some burning sensation. Because sitting like that in awkwardly straight posture, you will feel that burning sensation. So then he said, what did you say? No, I feel burnings here. This is what is called burning question. This is called burning question. And your question proves at what level of samadhi you are. At what level of samadhi? This is a wonderful idea in the Yoga Sutras. You will see that Yoga Sutra tells each and every small effort towards samadhi is also counted as samadhi. That is why you will see that savitarka, nirvitarka, savichara, all these things are samadhi. Samadhi, they are calling them samadhi. But you are at the very crude ground level of your awareness, but you are practicing. Then only it will be happening. So therefore, this Swamiji said, that is the burning question. When you ask this question, we know at what level of understanding you are. And then all help will be available and will be effective, otherwise not. So similarly, Master Masa is asking this question, and then Sri Ramakrishna gives very down-to-earth examples. You are not floating in the sky immediately, levitating like that. No. So therefore, the thing is that here, this is a wonderful, unique scripture, because you see down-to-earth explanations, experiences, everything here. You will see in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is asking a question. Sthita prajnasya ka bhasa samadhisthasya ke. So he is asking about questions that of the people of steady wisdom, those who have realized what way they behave, how they talk, how they sit, how they walk. If you are familiar with the modern behavioral psychology, it is Arjuna's psychology actually. Arjuna is asking how do those people walk, how do they talk, behavior. And Sri Krishna never went that way. He did not answer any of these things, he did not clarify. He started with the inner development, changes, transformation. And in the 5th chapter he goes and narrates Pasyan, Srinnan, Sprishan, Jigran, Asnan, Gachan, Swapan, Swasan, Pralapan, Bistrijan, Grinhan, Unmishan, Nimishan. You can see the translations in the Gita. It may be in the 5th chapter, 8, 9 verse like that. And there he takes it up. He did not discard this as useless there, because in the 2nd chapter he was talking about jnanam. So his main idea is how the inner transformation happens, not how you walk on the road, or whether you walk a little bit higher than others. No, not like that. So therefore, Sri Ramakrishna is giving very down-to-earth examples, because that's what we understand. Burning questions are like that. That's what we understand. And that is not available in any scripture. We call them scriptures because they talk about all celestial things. Very difficult to get rid of this idea of personality, and then you are walking in the heaven suddenly. This is very difficult to understand. So, this is doable. That gives you tremendous encouragement and strength. Yes, I too can do it, in spite of my defects, weaknesses. we have difficulties too, but still we can value ourselves. Still, as much as I can do. That is more than enough. Our Swami Ranganathanji used to say, you need not be a yogi, 100% yogi on the very first day. You may be 1% yogi, but try to make it uniformly 1% throughout the day. Uniformly 1%. In the office I am minus 200% yogi, and in the shrine I am plus 100% yogi. It cannot work that way. So therefore, this gospel is very special because you know how to walk with an incarnation of God. Is he walking somewhere above the ground? No, he too is walking together with us. That gives tremendous encouragement and confidence. We too can do this. And each and every page, just anywhere you open the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you have something to get. But don't think that all the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna is meant for one and the same person. No, it is meant for different people. One of our Swamis used to give one wonderful idea. He used to say, read the 4 yogas one after another. You will find what you like the most. And then you will see that you have some inner help from there. Your naigung, what is that English? Inclination is towards that yoga. Practice that because you will get help from within yourself. Practice that. So many varieties of yogas are told in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, but you will immediately feel that it is meant for me. And then you will start practicing this. It is not that for this some intellectual satisfaction. In most of the cases, I have seen people like Vedanta because it gives you an intellectual satisfaction. So we are out and out charvakas, or means materialists, but got some kind of fresh air in that respect, and we like it. So universal idea, acceptance, fine. But it does not change us from inside because we are all along and always the same means worldly person. As Sri Ramakrishna himself said, Holy Mother also has said, that it is not bad to be in the world, but it is bad to be of the world. That is how these examples they teach. Yes, these examples are there, but in spite of that, what is there? You see? The famous example of the maid servant in the rich man's house, everything is normal there, like any other person, but the mind is somewhere else. Mind is somewhere, and that creates the purpose in life. If we have a purpose in life, then our life, our time will be measured on life scale. And if we do not have a purpose in life, then our life will be measured on the time scale. Time scale. This many years somebody lived, what is that? What is special about it? A tree lives many more years, 1,000 years. That does not become a saint. So if we do not have a purpose, so to connect the goal to very ordinary thing, Swami Vivekananda, that is why in his lecture on practical Vedanta, he has said that not to bring down the level of our scriptures or understanding to our level, to suit to our interpretation, but to lift this life to that level. That is the idea of practical Vedanta. So here everything is very normal, we can understand it, but in and through that there is one tune which is constant, that I am attuned to something which is higher than this, which transcends the changefulness. Whatever be included in that word changefulness, it transcends that. It does not change. That is why it transcends that. That is why it is called transcendental. Transcends that scope of changefulness. Then you will see that all in and through all this changefulness, you will find that same tune constantly going. This still small voice within. It is said in the Bible. Very small, but it has got tremendous power. So in front of us there is a big tunnel which is very dark, 2 kilometers we have to go. But I have a very small candle in my hand, small, still small voice, flicker of that candle. It only illuminates maybe 1 meter of space. So I know that it cannot take me, it cannot illuminate the whole 2 kilometer stretch of darkness. And that is fine. But if you start walking, it will always illuminate 1 meter. And it has the power to take you across. So that is how it should be attuned to. So in and through the gospel, you will find very ordinary examples, down to earth, very practical. We can understand that. We don't have to imagine that what he is saying. No, it is a maid servant always. Of course, it is not like that. But suppose I am here, but I know I have to go back to Germany until and unless they request me many times and I become serious about that. I have to go back. So it is like that. Whatever I do, everything is planned, and then my idea is that I have to go back and then I have to start work there. These things we understand. Similarly, in one of his poems, Rabindranath Tagore has written that maybe while walking along the road you get tired, you have every right to sit down, drink water, take a little small nap, power nap. But you have to get up and go, because it will always continuously, this idea should haunt you, that still a long stretch is there to be covered to reach your destination. That is how you move. That is how we move every day. So that is the speciality of this scripture. That is why it is very useful for us. And you will see that who are the people who are coming to Sri Ramakrishna and asking questions, who are living a life in this materialistic world and facing challenges. One of our Swamis used to say, don't call problems. There are nothing in this world which happens uniquely to you, specially. This problem has targeted you. This is a special person, I will target this. And look at that problem. There are billions of such examples in lives of billions of people. So there is a pattern of these things. And there are experts to help you also in these things. So don't think that this is very special. So therefore, all these things here, these people who are coming to Sri Ramakrishna, they are suffering from all these troubles. And they are asking questions about what? About how much enjoyment you will have in the heaven. Once I asked Bhuteshanandaji Maharaj, what is this special idea of heaven? Maharaj looked at me and said, it is a beggar's description. What we don't get here, we want to get it there. Well, you will not have this body to enjoy there. So why do you think of very sweet water in the heaven, a lot of honey, and a lot of ahorn syrup, maple syrup there. But you fellow will be leaving your tongue and the body here, and then you are thinking of enjoying maple syrup there. It is not possible. This is a very contradictory idea. So, these people are suffering from challenges. The Swami used to say, don't call them problems, challenges. And challenges are there to prove us. That is modern day management. Prove us how we can face that challenge and prove our efficiency and our strength. So this way, if we read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna and look into the very details of this thing, how this is helping us. It helps everyone, even those who are non-believers. The other day, I met a few, about 21 people coming from one of the universities, Catholic university, faculty members and students, they all came. So one faculty member, she asked, what about this suffering? How do Hinduism face this question of suffering, etc.? I said, Hinduism face this question very squarely. It does not say that suffering, happiness is a byproduct of absence of suffering, or when your suffering ends, then happiness comes. It is not like that. Happiness is always there, the suffering fellow comes and goes. But happiness is our nature, so it cannot obliterate that. So don't think that when suffering is gone, then only you will be happy. In spite of this suffering, you can be happy. That is one of the greatest messages in that wonderful book, that man in search of meaning. So that is, suffering is there, but it is not your nature. Holy Mother has said that suffering is not permanent. And if it is permanent, then it will be equal to God. That is what Swami Ramakrishna has said. If it is permanent, then it will be equal to God. So it is like that. So thank you very much. I think, 1 hour. So thank you once more. I am very happy.
Thank you.
No, I want to thank you people. That is so,
We're going to thank you for coming and for giving us this wonderful talk. I mean, we read the gospel every week, and people do ask, how come it's so simple? How come it explained? And you've made it so perfectly clear, and we so much enjoy having you here. Now, after Vespers, everyone come down please to the convent for the potluck, and you can chat with Swami until he takes off and goes to Hollywood. But we do so appreciate you being here.
thank you. And all of you are heartily invited to visit us at our center in Berlin. Yeah, you know this. It is a sub-center of Hollywood Center. And this I said here earlier also. Earlier also I said it is one of the sub-satellite centers of Hollywood Center. Swanandaji, he was the great inspirer. He would always tell me, "Lagao," means start something. And he would somehow tell me that your center is not very important. I said, why? No, here we say that the Vedanta Center of Greater Washington, Vedanta Center of Southern California. Your Vedanta Center of what? Binduide, nobody understands what is that word. Nobody knows where it is. So Vedanta Center, Berlin. Then we understand. And if Berlin came, now finally we have Berlin Center. So, so I came there. Initially, there was nobody there before me. That is also a kind of blessing, and but a challenge. And so, 3 things I wanted to be very clear about. The number 1 is what to do for these people here. Knowing that we are monks, we cannot do everything. Knowing that it is Germany, not India. So what we can do for these people, so I needed some time to study things and understand things and then develop a mode of activities. That took me 15 years, then I wrote to our headquarters, these things we can do. Second thing was where to establish the permanent center. Then it was near Cologne, that retreat house, then Frankfurt, then Berlin, 3 places. We tried for so many years, 18 years. And then the question of sustainability, that money and manpower. So over the years, we worked on that and keeping just like that, attuned to the goal. And it worked. It worked miraculously, of course. It is not the heavenly miracle, but it is earthly miracle. It happened there. And so it really worked perfectly well. And but this question of sustainability, I planned some things which is trade secret. I am not going to disclose that here. During Corona, it has been tested to the extreme. Nobody coming, not money is not flowing, but at the same time we maintained 3 centers, 9 people living, and all the expenses. And in spite of that, we did send some donations to other centers in India and other places, and kept in close contact with the devotees and started our construction during Corona itself. So all these things happened, and then we knew that yes, this question has been solved: sustainability, money and manpower. And then we started that if we have to make it possible now after Corona, then we have to add at least 80% to the amount which we have already spent to realize this type of project. 80%. The building construction scenario in Germany is very, very bad. About 72% of the construction stopped prematurely. They had to abandon because of want of money, and government bailed out from 4 billion to 40 some billion euros to rescue these construction companies after Corona. So we finished during Corona. That time people were actually threatening us, saying, "Oh Swamiji, you will be spending more money after Corona, things will be cheaper." But after Corona, everything was beyond our reach, became beyond our reach. So it was wonderful to do these things. But to crown all these things, in and through this journey, we did experience the hand of Sri Ramakrishna. As I would put it very clearly, that when you work, give out your best, the rest is taken care of by them. And you can see that they too are working hand in hand with you. That much assurance they can give you. And when we were almost finishing, that also like a miracle it happened, finishing everything, and their floor heating pipelines were being laid. That time, suddenly one lady in London had a dream, and in that dream, Sri Ramakrishna appeared and asked her to arrange for a marble image of his, Sri Ramakrishna's marble image, in Berlin Center, Berlin, our shrine. And then that morning the lady called me, and she was meditating, but it was disturbing her too much, and then she called me and asked. She is a devotee of our London center, and Thakur did not ask her to give a statue for London center. Well, so it is for Berlin center. And then she was crying. I said, "Why are you crying?" "I feel like crying, because why did he go and talk to you? He could have talked to me." But he knows that I don't have that money power. So she said, "Swamiji, I have enough money, that is not a problem, but I am afraid if you say no." So I said, "I have no power to say no, but I have to check with the structural engineers, because it would be a steady load, that is constant, they call dead load. And on that, and it will be on the first floor, below that is underground." So, but German engineers and German construction, they said that area, wherever you place this statue, it can bear a static load of 3 tons, and our altar and statue together would be around 18,000. No, about 2 tons. So that was very clear. So I wrote to our headquarters, so we needed their permission. But when I talked with them, said Thakur decided to come there, so we have no power to say no, but we have to put the formal things in record that Germany Center will have a marble statue. And everything happened like a miracle. There was no marble stone available with that original artists in G. Pal in Kolkata, who made the image of Sri Ramakrishna in Belmont statue. So, but somehow their old the sculpture was sculptor was also had also retired. All these things, but still things happened in record time. In 4 months, everything happened. It came before our inauguration, and I also did not know how to bring that statue to Germany, because it would take 2 months at least to come by ship, and by the time our inauguration will be over. Then suddenly I remembered someone who used to have his logistics business, and he was available on the phone, and then he was completely overwhelmed. He said, whole life I have been carrying heavy electrical machineries, etc., and now you ask me to carry Thakur, Sri Ramakrishna. So then he did it, about all money he paid for the transportation. In 4 days' time it came there. We did not know who will install, and our architect said there is a company who installs these statues in the archives, museums. So that is the best company, and we did not know how to carry that huge load on the floor tiles, below which there would be all floor heating pipes, and that cannot take so much heavy load. So they said, don't worry, we know what to do. And they brought a caterpillar on which the statue was there, and the load was distributed so much, it became so light, and then it came and they placed there. We saw everything. So that is how things happened. So when I wrote to our headquarters asking for permission, I said that by this one act itself, Sri Ramakrishna has given his stamp of approval to whatever we have done for this last 20 years. That's all. They did not have any power to say no. They just said, okay, fine.
Thank you so much. Your journey in Germany has been one help of the Lord at every step. The Lord does it, we don't do it, do we?
Right. The one condition is that you should give out your best.
Yeah, do your best, but
And the rest, just like kripa or this grace, it happens like the Niagara Falls.
always does.
Yes.
Happened for Southern California, and it's starting also. That's the whole way it started, was grace.
But don't feel sad, because we are a satellite center of Southern California.